Have you or your autistic child ever been through the autistic spiral to burnout? Me and my kids have, and this video is about the signs and what helps prevent or break out of the spiral. These things are true for me and my family. See if this is happening in your household. What is autistic burnout, and what does it feel like? Burnout is defined by Oxford Dictionary as physical or mental collapse caused by overwork or stress. What it feels like to me is like something is actively sucking my energy, whether it's mental energy to process thoughts or physical energy to even move. It feels like my entire being has been deflated. It's a level above autistic catatonia, which burnout inevitably leads to if not taken care of. Many of us receive our autism and ADHD diagnoses during this period of our lives. This is when our masking ability deteriorates. This happens to autistic children and teens, so it's important to know the signs for caregivers as well as autistic adults. With interoception issues, or not feeling typical inner body signals, it might be hard to know you are going through it until burnout has already set in deeply. Here are 5 signs that autistic burnout is coming. Number 1. Special interests no longer appeal. I don't mean just losing interest in what is typically a healthy obsession. I am talking about completely not being able to stand hearing about, thinking about, or someone talking about a strong special interest. Then it might be a sign that burnout is coming. Along with that, is someone losing passion for anything, where before they had either strong special interests or many of them. Do any of you have stories of autistic burnout or catatonia? Please let me know in the comments because your experience helps me as well as other viewers. The second sign of early burnout is stimming increases or changes. Does stimming now seem to be used to regulate more? Would you or your loved one otherwise be more dysregulated? Take notice if this increase or change in stimming is accompanied by other changes in behavior. Those changes include gastrointestinal distress, changes in using the bathroom, or not being able to hold one's bladder, aggression, self-injurious behavior, and anxiety. The signs and symptoms overlap with many other issues, but in my opinion, a medical issue needs to be ruled out first. Whether your loved one can communicate their inner experience or not, always check medical first. Third, refusal to go to therapy, school, work, or routine places in general is a red flag that someone is starting to spiral into autistic burnout. This is true even for caregivers. If therapy is the cause, consider taking a break. Therapy is supposed to help with skills and add to life, not take away from it. It doesn't mean you have to quit therapy. Consider lowering hours or taking some weeks off. The next one is similar, but more serious. Number 4. Even my comfort places start to feel uncomfortable. For instance, with me, it's like a feeling that I can't feel comfortable anywhere, even places I typically love or use to calm down. Like, my body always feels out of place, and I'm in a constant state of seeking relief. Usually, my bedroom, my office, or car are places I can get myself right again. But when I'm heading toward a burnout, even those places do not give me relief. It's hard to tell if I'm tired, if I want to move around, if I want to sit, or if I should just take a nap, and the cycle begins again. Sitting makes me want to stand. Standing makes me want to pace or walk around. Pacing makes me want to lay down or even jump. It's like my inner body is out of sorts. I call it a spiral for this reason. This feeling causes more anxiety, but more anxiety causes more of this discomfort, and it repeats until I'm paralyzed or too tired to move much at all. And this is how autistic catatonia can set in. Last, do you or your loved one seem to be more autistic? What I mean by that is, are they exhibiting more traits or more than they have in the past? We all know stims change over time, and some can ebb and flow. I'm talking about, are they seeming to show more autistic traits? That could be a sign of impending autistic burnout. Motor skills becoming more unreliable is a result of burnout, along with masking ability. Camouflaging autistic traits is often one of the first abilities to go since it's an artificial, non-life-saving skill. So what is helpful to break out of the spiral? Here are the 3 things that help me or my kids recover from autistic burnout. 1. Retreating to our special interests. I know I mentioned that not wanting to do this is a sign of burnout. However, I try to start a new passion, or learn a new section of the interest I can no longer find joy from. For example, I love learning languages, and instead of trying to get deeper into a language I usually love, I try to find a new language to learn, or a new writing system, for instance. Or I find something completely new and random to dive deeply into. Getting really passionate about something, learning facts, gaining deep knowledge of something, it fuels me. It makes me feel more alive and stimulates and awakens my brain. Second, I turn everything else off. Turning things off means doing much less, like therapies, work, school, etc. What can I do less of or take a day or 2 off? What demands on my body or my kids' time can I take off our plates? Is there an activity I can come back to at a later date? Can we say no to some social outings? These are things I think about when I feel burnout coming on. Last, I get professional or medical help. I know not everyone has access to medication, therapies, nor physicians. But if you do, don't hesitate to reach out to a medical professional about you or your autistic child's needs. They may not have heard of autistic burnout or catatonia, so you may know more about it than they do. But they can prescribe medication and refer to helpful therapies, such as EMDR, talk therapy, speech therapy, etc. Now, let's talk about prevention. Prevention of going into the burnout spiral is of utmost importance because it's easier to not get involved than to break out of the spiral which consumes the person's life and their families. For reference, my last burnout lasted about 5 years. It was caused by relational abuse, poverty, and it took my mental health down to nothing. I wasn't eating sometimes, and other times, I was eating too much. I stopped masking, and it led to my second ASD diagnosis. Fun fact, my first burnout led to my first diagnosis, which was called Asperger's in my late teens. Both times of burnout took years to break out of, and I am very careful now to keep prevention front of mind because at my age, I don't know how I would truly recover from another lengthy recovery period from autistic burnout. It's important to notice these signs and patterns within yourself or your loved ones, so that steps to prevent full-on burnout are taken right away. Constant check-ins with you or your students' moods, stims, sleeping patterns, eating, and even bathrooming patterns are super important for preventing burnout. Any prolonged changes might mean something is up and can't be ignored any longer. Write your findings down and track the changes. Use an app if you need to. I have a tracker that I created that I have pinned in the comments. Please comment things that have helped you either recognize a burnout coming or helped break out of the spiral that leads to one. Don't forget to go to the pinned links in the description where I put the daily status tracker.